this is a look back of the 1980s Bespin Leia. But not only that, if you look in the back, there will be more. Let's just have a look at. I had a, I bidded, I placed a bid on this, and I won it. This was up originally, but I looked at all photos and stuff of the cape, and it was down, so I did that. Here's a look at all that stuff. That's my old 90s one. You'll see that in a bit. So, when I open it up, there are two new figures. These two. Just pop that back up. Because it makes a nice background. We're going to start with, actually, let's start with that layer. The Boost layer. Now, with my Boost layer, I was actually surprised that I still had the helmet. So, with my Boost layer, this one, I was surprised I had the helmet and the cape. Mainly because the cape actually does fall off a lot. And I was surprised I still had her little stick. Because I used to actually display it like that because she had a thermal detonator. So display it like that. This is the one from and this is the one from the 80s. And if you're wondering, oh, it's a face. So this is the 80s one, the original. Let's look at the little masks. So, why to get this and that layer? When they do the vintage collection, I mean not the vintage, the retro collection, I wanted to have one from Return of the Jedi, so this is not breaking my rule. Just put her up. Just never put her up there. As you noticed, that Leia came in a little bag. The thing, like the little information that on how where I got it and stuff, will be there. Now this one is that Leia, the Endor Leia. This Endor Leia also came with her blaster. There's the Endor Leia. It's all tied up at the back, which, if you look at the vintage collection, it goes through. Now the vintage one, I just saw in that review, you can take that off. Just like you can do with that one. I can't take that one's helmet off, but look at the 90s helmet against the 80s helmet. Just look at the figures. So we're going to look at the figures without their ponchos on. Let's look at the poncho. Let's look at the ponchos. Let's look at the ponchos. They kind of went downgraded in the 90s. First thing, there's the original 80s figure next to the 90s figure. And the 80s figure against, well, the vintage. And actually just for the fun of it, let's look at the two guns. One thing I like about that is the vintage collection, you have the holes there. In the old one, it had the holes there. I think that's pretty cool. And this Leia can actually sit on the 90s Power the Force 2 bike because they were the same. Something that's annoying about this one is her gun doesn't go in the holster. The information for this Leia is going to be shown now. So we're going to take this off. When I got it, that was up, I folded it because, like I said before, there's a look what the cape actually looks like all done up. When it's all open and stuff. There's a better look at the figure without it. That's what she looked like when I received her. This is just, so you can see the A4. It says 83. That will be it for this video. Just so you know, that one and that one came from the same seller and were bought outright. That one was a bid, and I just got that one today. There's a quick look at my actual old ones. The ones that are not in the plastic. Things like that one, and that one. The ones that aren't in those, like all these, were ones I actually did play with when I was little. As a matter of fact, I would use this Han and like that Leia. Like I was one to mix the 80s and the 70s and 80s ones with the 90s. And yes, the Han is still my favourite now. He's got a Bespin Leia. Okay. That is, seriously, that is the actual end. Thanks for watching.